Today is a very special day because this beautiful box right here just arrived at my door. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the brand new GoPro Hero 13 and how well this thing performs underwater. In no way is this video affiliated with GoPro. I bought this camera with my own money, so it's my hope that I'm going to give you a pretty unbiased review of how well this thing performs. I'm sure you're aware by now that these action cameras are made for a lot of different types of activities. However, if you're new around here, you might not know that I do have a very unhealthy obsession with scuba diving.
You guessed it, guys, definitely not married.
So this video is going to be geared primarily towards underwater use. On this video, we're going to go through some of its features, take a look at what's new versus what hasn't even changed. Then we're going to take a dive in my local spring where we're going to put some of this to action. But before we do that, let's get this camera out of its box. So here it is, the brand new GoPro Hero 13 as it is, straight out of the box. And what I want to do now is go through some of the physical differences that you'll see on this brand new GoPro as compared to the Hero 12. Then we're going to go ahead and get this thing into the water. The first thing that you're going to notice here is this mounting system looks almost the same as it does on the Hero 12. What we have are these fins that fold out and then they snap back in magnetically. Except what's different here on the GoPro Hero 13 is that this whole bottom mounting plate is magnetic. What's going to be exciting about this is if you want to mount this to your helmet or maybe on top of your dive mask, you have the ability to use these magnetic mounts to quickly attach or detach your camera from your helmet or from your dive mask. And now it's going to be handheld and you're able to use it as needed at that point. In all fairness, this is definitely a ripoff from DJI. You're not going to hear any complaints from me, however, because this has always been a feature that I've wanted GoPro to offer. I'm very happy they did this. The other thing that you're going to see is we're going to have the same 1/4 inch screw port that's available on the Hero 12, and this is going to be especially useful for attaching tripods or other non-GoPro made mounting options. Moving on to the heatsink, you'll notice right underneath the lens, this piece of metal right here with ribs on it. These ribs are designed to increase the surface area, so the idea is that the heat is going to conduct into the metal plate, and then from there, it's going to dissipate out into the atmosphere around it. So if you have your camera mounted on a helmet mount, or any sort of environment where there's going to be some sort of airflow passing over the camera, the heatsink is going to work great. It's my prediction though, and I don't know for sure, but I can only imagine that if you stick this camera inside an underwater housing, it's going to be too much of an enclosed environment, and there's not going to be really anywhere for that heat to go. As far as conventional use is concerned, I think the heatsink is going to work great, but when you're putting it inside of an underwater housing, it's just my opinion that you might not notice too much of a difference. With the Hero 13, they now offer the ultra-wide lens along with the macro lens. I'm actually very excited about the macro lens. I'm going to be making a video about each one of these, so keep an eye out for those in the future. I want to talk about batteries. These are the batteries for my GoPro Hero 12, but I also want to show you these brand new batteries that are available for the Hero 13. They have quite a bit of capacity added to them. They're supposed to last a little bit longer, not sure how much. However, they are not interchangeable with the Hero 12, with the 11, with the 10, with the 9, just like these older batteries were. And of course, let's not forget that these older batteries are obviously not going to be compatible with the brand new Hero 13. Unfortunately, this renders this entire investment completely useless. And I'm not very happy about that. Now that we've covered all the physical details, now let's get to the part that you've most likely been waiting for. Let's go ahead and get this camera underwater, where we're going to be able to get a feel for how well the auto white balance performs, take a look at some of the color profiles, some of the different lens options, and just get a general idea of its overall underwater performance. Today, we're going to be diving in a local spring in New Braunfels, Texas that is located here at the headwaters of a very popular river. Since this water is so clear and beautiful, this will make the perfect spot for us to do our underwater test. Keep in mind that this is not just the first time that I'm taking this camera underwater, it's the first time that I'll be using it in general. I'll be making a separate video about best settings as soon as I get more experience with this brand new GoPro. Today was partly cloudy, with the sun coming in and out of some cloud cover, giving us a good opportunity to see what this footage will look like, not only underneath direct sunlight, but also underneath some slightly darker conditions as well. What we're going to go ahead and start with here is going to be 5K 30 with the electronic lens mode set to wide. As far as stabilization is concerned, this camera is being handheld and hypersmooth is turned on. Right now, of course, the sun is currently behind a cloud, but I would say so far everything looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to 4K 60. The electronic lens option that we're going to use is going to be called linear. We're also going to engage horizon leveling. You're probably already familiar with horizon leveling because it's been out for quite a while, but regardless of how the camera moves, the horizon is always going to stay level when this feature is engaged. This makes for a really stable image. Keep in mind, because this was shot in 4K 60, I'm going to slow this down 50%, giving it even more smoothness and stabilization. Now let's try 4K 60 shot in super view. And this is the widest option that's going to be offered by GoPro. It's called Hyperview. And you'll notice around the edges there's a lot of chromatic aberration as well as distortion, and in my opinion it's too wide for underwater use. However, in some unique cases, if used in the right way, it can actually work out. Now let's take a look at all of the different color profiles. In order to set the baseline, I want to point out that all of the footage that you've seen so far is the standard profile with color set to natural. This is going to be the standard profile with the color set to vibrant. And this is going to be the standard profile with color set to flat. This is going to be a flat and neutral profile that's meant for you to color grade in post. This is what it looks like after it's color graded. This next feature is called HDR mode. It's designed to broaden your dynamic range and further balance the exposure. And this feature is known as GP log. This is GoPro's own log profile that's going to require some post-processing. And this is what GP log looks like without a color grade. And this is what it looks like after a color grade. And now let's take a look at the slow motion. This was shot at 120 frames a second, allowing you to slow the footage down to 20%. And this is 240 frames a second, allowing you to slow the footage down to 10%. Just like on the GoPro Hero 12, on the new Hero 13, you will have to down res to 2.7K in order to shoot at 240 frames a second. As far as slow motion is concerned, one of the features that I have not covered on this video is a feature called burst slow motion. It allows you to film at really high frame rates, but in short bursts of 5 seconds. For example, you can shoot in 5.3K at 120 frames a second. I didn't get a chance to get any test footage of this feature, so this will be a great thing to try out on the next video. So what I'm going to do from here is take a little bit more time to get familiar with this camera, then I'll be able to put together a video of what I feel like the best settings are for using this GoPro underwater. I also just received my DJI Action 5 Pro, so I'll be making a similar video about that action camera as well, so stay tuned for that content. That's pretty much going to wrap this one up. See you in the next dive. Thanks for watching.